in various TV and radio talks. He did a great job in science communication and has helped many people to witness the beauty of this universe with the telescope. Having witnessed a wide range of astronomical phenomena like comet visits, solar and lunar eclipses, meteor showers, transits, and occultations, etc. So, he got an immense experience in this field. His passion and curiosity for astronomy are serving as inspirations to the great audience. Sir, we are very honored to have you here. Now, the stage is all yours.
Thank you very much, Anushka. Thank you. And
Welcome, sir.
I would like to start with Jai Hind because today it's our 75th Independence Day. And from what we have to get independent, that we will decide once the session is over. Let me clarify certain things before I start my session. There are numerous slides, and if you wish to understand certain things where whatever I'm speaking, you can jot down a little so that at the end, when there is a question session, you can recall that and you can ask certain questions. I'll try to finish as fast as possible so that at the end there can be an interactive talk. Whatever questions that I can take up, I'll try to answer that according to the information knowledge that I have in this field. I'll also show you, along with astronomy, how I entered into astronomy and uh, what you should now pursue if you are astronomy lover, how it can be taken ahead either as a hobby or a passion or a career, whatever way you want to choose. But astronomy is everything. That is what I wish to deliver in today's lecture. I am now presenting from my end. Kindly, if at all you feel something is not proper, like either my voice or something, so do let me know. I'll try to adjust myself as far as possible. And if something is wrong, you can put in the chat box and let the core team decide how to deal with that, right? So here we go.
Sir,
Yes.
so should we be taking the doubts at end, or I should just open the chat section so that students can ask
Uh,
questions?
what I'll do at the end of certain slides, I'll ask everyone to ask any question so that from period to period it can be asked.
Okay, yes, sir, I understand. So, sir, please let us know. I would open the chat section at that time only.
Yeah. What I'll do, I'll just ask that if you wish to ask any question, I'll just ask you to open that. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so here we go. I'll go little fast because I want to cover so much. I won't go slow. So here in one slide only, let me tell you that this one slide is always kind of a Gita for me. Anytime when I have a popular lecture series, then I would start with this one slide only, onto which I can speak for weeks or sometime a month. This one slide itself is a whole of astronomy. Like you can see that there is a Martian land at the surface, and Venusian things are visible here in the middle. You can see Hyperion, the satellite of Saturn. You can see Saturn's ring. You can see here number of comets that are entering into something. There is a, on the right side upper level, you can see the Canadian arm where the astronaut is working somewhere. You can see some asteroids here. You can see the Mir station. You can see so many objects here where the comets and eclipse and Earth and so many galaxies in the middle, with our Milky Way band is also visible. Like this is a Sombrero galaxy, this is a Ring galaxy, this is Cat's Eye Nebula, this is Tate Pole galaxy. All these things are something which has given us a level up understanding of this so-called subject, astronomy or space science, right? But I can, imagine that there is a wide spectrum of people who are here right now today to enjoy this session, and I wish that there should be from level 0 to level, up, where we can enjoy everything one by one. And as I said, that I'll be giving you chance to ask anything in regards to something that I'm showing. Do not try to ask something which I have not yet showed. So try to remain in that small cocoon where we are enjoying, right? So let me tell you that astronomy is what is astronomy. First of all, let us understand that people have some specific thought about astronomy in everyone's perspective according to the information that they have gathered till that age. So this is very popular slide where you can see that the sun is on one side. There is a small village. There are grounds, and there are number of stars studied something like a sphere or something. So in the previous era, I'm talking way back some thousands of years back. That time it was too difficult to judge that whether the earth is a flat like a dish, or a flat like a square, or a spherical, or what exactly it is. So what they thought about, that the earth must be flat, because whatever sphere that they saw in those days was a small sphere only, where one can only step on a small place, otherwise they would fall down. So this was the concept. So they just thought that the earth is flat and there is a kind of a star studded curtain, and if I'll keep walking, keep walking, at one time I'll reach the horizon and I'll open up the curtain, and there would be heaven where the god or someone out there who's sitting there, and I'll say, hello, hi there, I'm here. So this was the concept. And people might have also walked, but you can't reach to horizon, right? So in that regard, astronomy now we can consider as a scientific study of a celestial bodies and phenomena occurring outside Earth's lower atmosphere. Now this is something very typical. It can be an object study, it can be a phenomena, it can be energy, it can be matter, it can be space, it can be time. All these things which is just outside our lower atmosphere, because there is a small understanding of a sky and a space. The sky is over and then the space starts. So anything that we study beyond our sky, because within sky everything is part of atmosphere, is all meteorology and all. So we will just try to understand something that is beyond our atmosphere. Astronomy is always considered as mother of all sciences. Why? Because if you go through any of the civilization across the globe, be it Indian, be it Chinese, be it Arabic, Egyptian, or Greek, or Mayan, any dynasty, any civilization, they all were amazed by the so-called fascinating small dots of light, and some of these dots were moving across the sky. So they all studied in depth. But ancient science dealt with many accuracies as well multiple myths. So we will try to understand that what accuracies were there and what myths that time prevailed. And now we will try to elaborate this, that astronomy, to be more precise, can deal with motions, both real and apparent. We might see that it is moving, but could be we are moving. So like real and apparent, and the laws which govern these motions, their form, their dimensions, masses, surface feature, their nature, constitution, physical condition, the effect which they produce upon one another by their attraction and radiation, their probable evolution, history, present state, and futuristic development. So this is everything. Astronomy and space science deal with beginning to end. We could never see the beginning, but we can assume on the base of the observations that we have, and the theories would try to either back it, or it can rip apart, so that a new theory can take over. And the same would be for the future. We never know that what would happen tomorrow morning, because if tomorrow somebody by mistake starts a nuclear war tomorrow morning, then we are, just like that, hawa hawa. And the same can happen if at all by chance the sun, that sun is also alive, right? So if sun sneezes, and if that sneezing material can come to earth, we all can go hawa hawa, right? I know this sounds funny, but if I consider that as a coronal mass ejection, suppose the sun throws a coronal mass ejection, CME with the X10, all these things are, because it is very scientific, I just thought let me compare that with our sneezing. So the material that comes to earth would have enormous energy radiation so that everything can evaporate in seconds. So these are the futuristic aspect, and otherwise for billions of years nothing will happen, nothing will change. The way we feel can change, right? So these are all astronomy and space science. Fine. So let us understand why astronomy, right? So I'll just give you small examples that what our ancient people observed and why we are more fascinated by this subject. We all know what is this. These are pyramids at Giza. Fine. We all have seen this picture many a times. But what is it to do? Yes, somebody wanted to say something. Someone unmuted. I hope I'm heard properly.
Yes, sir, you are audible properly.
Thank you. So, these pyramids, what is had to do with astronomy? Let me, go to some other things so that you can correlate that. Oh, wow, you can see the star. Wow, a sky or the night sky is studded with number of stars, and out of these stars, some of the stars are very fascinating figures. What are these figures? These are all imagination, and this imagination is one of the most popular imagination in the night sky. And I know that those who are into astronomy straight away say, oh, this is Orion. Okay, so in Hindi it is also called Mrig, or in English it is called Orion. But what is to do this Egyptian pyramid with Orion? Let us go ahead and we will see this. Oh wow, acha. So Orion makes these type of imagination in the night sky, where it is called now a constellation, where there is imagination that a person is standing with two shoulders and a waist belt is visible, and there is a shield and a or a bow or and something to throw somewhere. So this is Orion the hunter. Now let us understand something more. Oh, this is now a map. You know what is a map? The map is that of Giza, right? This is a Giza where the pyramids are being built in the same manner, structure, and magnitude in which the stars of Orion visible. Wow. So you can see here Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka. These are the names of the stars up there in the Orion's belt, and the same shape and size and dimension. The three pyramids of Giza is made, but that is not all. There are some other structure that is actually giving same dimensions and distances according to the Orion constellation on the earth at Egypt. Now you see that suppose if I ask you to create something at such a large scale and a distance that of any constellation, even today it would be too difficult. I'm talking way back, 5,000 years back, when they could imagine the distances so accurately that they could produce, like Betelgeuse. You know what is a Betelgeuse? Betelgeuse is name of one of the star. Bellatrix is also name of a star. Rigel or a Saiph. These are stars' name. And at these places, they made some temples and a tower. So you can correlate this thing. So how much astronomical observation were, onto their mind, they just thought that these are all powerful shapes, and that can give us some more power to understand the so-called universe that time. But you know what is a universe, that I'll tell you. This is another view. This is a topographic view of Alnitak, Alninam, Mintaka in the middle. On the right hand side, these are the pyramids at Giza, and on left hand side, again, these are in Mexico. Now you can imagine that in those era there were no much of a probability of traveling from one place to other place because there was Atlantic or Pacific Ocean to cross. And in this regard also, they also had the same mindset of creating something from the same shape. Can anything more be there? Oh yes, the Giza Pyramid, the Orange Belt, and in the middle there is a World Trade Center. Now you see, Trade Center was attacked on 9/11, and there is another small tower beside it that also resembles the same that of Orion. So this is, the kind of impact that astronomical observation can have onto our daily life. Many of you must also have seen such a type of photograph. This is called the Stonehenge, which is in England, southern part of the England, where this structure is said to be constructed for the astronomical observations. What astronomical observations? This is, the topographic view where only certain ruins have remained. I visited some 2 years back, and it's absolutely astonishing that, oh wow, like 20 feet high, these rocks are otherwise nowhere found in the vicinity of hundreds of kilometers, and they must be weighing in tons, and still they were onto the top of something. Who created, how it was built, and what was the purpose? The purpose is very clear, that the summer rise in the solstice or the equinox are specifically being denoted through this stone carving or stone establishment or stone placement onto one another, and then they could see where the sun rises during the equinox or solstice. What is equinox, what is solstice, that is another story, but that is, just a small understanding about equinox and solstice. Equinox is something where the sun exactly rises from east, or the day and night is same. Solstices are the northernmost or southernmost point at which we can see sun rising. Fine. The same we can find at 3 different places in India also, which is called a Jantar Mantar, where these Jantar Mantar are also kind of observatories that were created some centuries ago, where they can see what type of a zodiacal sign, what type of constellation, where the planets are moving, what would be the next eclipse, what would be the next conjunction. All these things were also, shown through these stones. The way we saw the stones at the England, these are the stones in our own country, like Jaipur, Ujjain, and Delhi. All these 3 places, there are such Jantar Mantar observatory. This is another, place where in Mexico these type of structure is created, where from one end the sun's ray exactly pass through a window on equinox day. So you can imagine the huge structure for a small astronomical phenomenon which we have ignored. All the routine people other than astronomers or amateur astronomers, these things have been ignored, that how this mechanism is working. Oh, this spider, huh? But what is to do spider with astronomy? This is not a routine spider. This figure is in hundreds of feet or more than 100. This is 1200 feet long spider. Now I tell you one thing. I'm just talking about this thing is found in Peru, right? This is Peru is a Southern American country where this particular place is called a Nazca. These Nazca figures are very, very famous because so large these figures are, and these figures are today. Even if I want to draw or imagine, I have to have the aerial look how the figure looks like. But that time there was no aerial probability. There was no aeroplane or the helicopter or the drone, which you can just hover and see. Okay, and little left, little right. There was no such probability, and these are the figures. And there is another airstrip. This is constructed centuries back. What was the need of such airstrip? Can we feel that there were aliens who visited? These are the questions which are yet unanswered. Some of the astronomers are thinking that there were aliens who visited, who guided how to create who visited and guided how to create pyramid, who visited and guided how to draw these large figures. There are some stories of the corn fields also, and now this Nazca Strip, where there could be a kind of a landing place, and this is dated back centuries, where there were no aeroplane till 1903. You all know that Wright brothers started flying in 1903 in a plane, but prior to that there were only balloons, and that never required any airstrip. So these are different types of things. So the astronomy started with some stationary thing, like the earth is a steady, we all are children of a god. So we have to simply sit and observe that, okay, we are sitting, let the sun rise, let the sun set, let the moon rise, let the moon set, let all the stars go around us, and we are ruling. So that means, what is it called? A geocentric universe, not solar system. Geocentric universe. Geo means earth, centric means center. So earth centered universe. They always thought that the earth is in the center, and there are certain things which are moving around the earth, and there are, at the end, there are stars. Beyond star, there must be God residing, because he or she made this whole universe and they left us to run it properly, which we are not. Anyway, this was a concept prior to so many centuries, and they just thought that the probability of some movements in the night sky is retrograde, that means it goes ahead and coming back, could be because of the epicycles that is there. So these are the prior concept of astronomy which gave the establishment of today's astronomy or space science that we have, right? So this is a kind of a model, and this model is worked out by so many shoulders, right? Like Aristophanes, I'm not getting into the history of how they did, but these are the people, one by one I'm just pressing. They actually founded that we can observe the night sky properly, we can discover something, we can measure very minuteness of the movement of any celestial bodies, and we can understand how the so-called universe works. But all these years, if you just go through these years are nowhere even the 20th century. These are all prior to 20th century. But don't you think, after just going through the list of all these, there are certain giant shoulders missing? I'll just show you who are these giant shoulders who give different perspective of astronomy. Like Aristarchus, the distance of sun, then the earth wobbles or the epicycles, or Aryabhatiya, or mathematical astronomy, discovery of Neptune, pendulum, comet hunter, Halley's comet, Messier. All these things are actually, trust me, without going into this, today's astronomy space science is a baseless probably, right? So let me show you some giant shoulders who worked so hard, and he is the first hero of 1543, Nicholas Copernicus, who rightly said that the sun is in the center, not the earth, and a new era began with heliocentric universe. Again, I'm using word universe because I'll tell you as the time comes that the universe is nothing else but whatever we see through our naked eye. But at the time of Galileo, 1608 onwards, we started observing through a small apparatus called telescope, right? Again, there is a myth that Galileo invented the telescope, which is absolutely wrong. It was Hans Lippershey who invented the telescope. Galileo was very clever, so he got the idea and he made a better version of what Hans Lippershey did, and he made his own telescope. So since then, the new era began 400 years, I tell you, if you check the development of a human history, the science development started differently from the invention of the telescope. If you go 400 years back, all the things have stacked up so fast, and prior to that it was all slow moving, going steady. But Galileo, then Newton, then the 20th century, the Einstein, Hubble, and Stephen Hawking, they changed the whole thing. Whatever love that you have for astronomy now is based upon these people's giant shoulders who gave their whole lives. You all must be knowing that Galileo was a house arrest for past a decade or a more in his own house because he backed Copernicus that yes, it is the heliocentric universe, where I saw that the Jupiter has certain small thing that is going around it. I could see that the Venus is changing phases. I could see that the sun has spots on it which rotate. So that means the Nicholas Copernicus-Stian model of a heliocentric universe is definitely right. So these people gave their lives so that we can love astronomy. We can go today to moon. We can dream of going to Mars tomorrow, and we can have another person out there who can say that yes, I have come from Earth and I'm going to reside on another planet. So this is something that is now in every school book or a college book. This is very typical picture of our solar system where everything is shown in exaggerated manner. But to understand that these are the bodies which are part of solar system and not the universe. So you must be aware about now that there are stars, there are galaxies, there are nebulae. All these things were not been understood properly until Edwin Hubble observed Andromeda galaxy and said that this is not part of something called our galaxy. This is another galaxy, and the new era began. Right? It was 1924, some 100 years back, when this thing established that our so-called universe is just nothing but a small island in the vast ocean of space, where we are small rock, 12,756 kilometer rock orbiting a dwarf sun, dwarf star, just 13,92,000 kilometer diameter on a small 1 lakh light year diameter Milky Way galaxy. And there are multitude of such galaxies where different shapes are there. There is a vast distance, and so a new era began 100 years back. With this one slide, I'll make you understand, and then we will try to open up small question and answer session if at all you feel like we are residing on Earth. On Earth, the Earth is in a solar system. Solar system can be considered as a neighboring stars, where there are so many stars in the third cylinder. You can see that there is a red dot in the middle. That is a solar system. Now the whole thing can be seen in a Milky Way galaxy somewhere as a red thing, somewhere is written. That is, we are halfway from the edge and the center. The whole Milky Way galaxy is, part of a local galactic group of nearly 54 galaxies of a different shape and size. They are all part of Virgo supercluster. Virgo supercluster is made up of so many such small local galactic group, and they all Virgo supercluster is also part of a local supercluster, and that is observable universe, where Earth or where human is otherwise not even a dust in the vast ocean. So I hope you know that we are nothing, and we feel every morning in front of a mirror and say, see, I am the smartest, I am the best. All these I am is absolutely a rubbish thing. With this, I would like to just pause for a minute, and if you have any question, we can just have 2-3 questions. Then I'll just go ahead. It's just a half an hour past. So let me.
Yes, sir. I have opened the chat box. If anyone is having any doubt, he or
I
she
won't
can.
be able. I won't be able to read because on my screen it would be only my presentation. So if you feel that the question
Uh,
is related,
sure,
so
sir.
please pronounce that.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. So, if anyone is having any doubt, he or she can please write down in the chat section. I would read it out with his or her name. Um, and sir, if the candidate is willing to unmute, so I think could they? Okay. Uh,
Okay, fine. I believe that.
Mr.
Yes,
Sir, there is a doubt from Mr. Greenashwaru
please,
Papala.
please.
Sir, you are recognized. Please ask your question.
Please unmute yourself so that I can hear you. I can't hear anything.
So there are questions regarding let me just read it out. Uh, Mr. Sanjeev M is asking if there is any possible to aliens. Why? Yep. So could I be asking it like
Fine.
um
Let me tell you one thing. Okay. Irrespective of my progress in the presentation, I'll answer anything and everything that I know something. Okay. So let me give you some answer about this. That the probability of alien is since ages that they are feeling that there must be some past visit by aliens. That could be the UFO sighting by so many of the US naval cadets and all. There are pictures and there are films which are either fake or they are correct, irrespective. Just let me tell you one thing and then you decide. Okay, our galaxy, Milky Way galaxy, has approximately 200 billion star or something around. Out of these 200 billion stars, there are not yet been discovered or been seen, but it has been calculated that there are approximately 50 billion, understand, not million, m for Mumbai, B for Bombay, so I'm talking about Bombay, 50 billion planets. Out of 50 billion planet, can we consider that there can be only one planet onto which there is a life? Just think of yourself. Okay, I can't stamp whether there are aliens or not. Just you think that out of 50 billion planets, can there be life on only one planet?
um yes, sir. So the next question is coming from Mr. Sanket Jadhav. They are asking that Galileo's eyes were damaged because they saw through the naked eyes from the telescope. So is it true or is it just a myth?
It's just a myth because till last it was not been, any blind Galileo's this thing ever in any of the book. He might had some damage, but it was not like a blinding effect.
Yes, sir. Sir, and the another question is being asked that what is the true meaning of invention of zero by Aryabhatta and how did they actually invented zero?
Oh, this is again absolutely different from astronomy. This is a mathematical thing where the zero was established to ease out the calculation, and how it got invented. That is a whole long story which I can't, but it has got nothing to do with astronomy. It is absolutely a mathematical calculation which is now being used by every science that is prevailing on Earth. Okay, let us go ahead in the session because there are multitude of slides. If there
Uh,
is, let
yes,
me
sir.
cover one more question. One more question, okay, and then we'll go ahead.
Uh, sure, sir. Sir, could I please ask my question? Like
Yes,
I had
please.
it out.
Yes.
When we talk about fourth dimension in mathematics, we talk about it like in terms of length, right? We use the concept of tesseract. But when we talk about it in physics terminologies with the theory of Einstein, so we talk about that four dimension to be the time, like so, and we should be forming the space time curves in that case. So, what is the four dimension actually? Is it a length or is it actually time?
No, 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 no. The X, Y, Z is always been considered as a three dimension, that is X, Y, and Z, where the Z is the third dimension altogether. Like suppose if I am just drawing a certain, just a point, that is one dimension. If the point is being lengthened, then this is a two dimension. If that whole thing is then in a sphere, then it is a third dimension. But the fourth dimension has to be time, because that is the only dimension that we could right now see. There could be another dimension of a dimension, understand? The fourth dimension could be another dimension, but we have taken time as a fourth dimension because the space is can be confined or can be described by three dimension. It is not requiring right now any another extra dimension to make anyone understand about the space. So the fourth dimension is in general taken as the time.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, so let me give you some brief about my small journey into astronomy. I'll take a quick journey into this. This is the first book that I purchased when I was in ninth standard, and that time it was kind of so-called dinosaur era. Why I'm calling dinosaur era? Because that time it was 1981 when there was not even a television with a color. It was a black and white television era, and that time there was a small book fair that had come from Russia, and I purchased this book. In those days, it was 75 rupees, which was very costly that time, and that gave me a journey. And I'll just scroll through. You can understand that the love for astronomy is not at the instance, the way you have the access of asking Google kaka or Google uncle, Google uncle, tell me what is the time. Okay, Google uncle, can you tell me what is the sombrero galaxy? Uncle, Google uncle, can you ask Wiki uncle to tell me something about Valentina Tereshkova and all. So these are the things that are very easy for you to go through. But in our time, like I'm talking way back when there was no internet, computer started giving information to general public. It was the time when 1989, that time Voyager 2 was leaving the solar system. Voyager 2 was leaving the solar system, and we had only material in a printed manner. We had to go through every book, and books were also not available so easily that on astronomy in India in those days. Whatever material that was available was just a book. So I have a, now I can say proudly that I have a good library where there is a number of books. That now here is a small journey onto which I can just show you that these are the years where whatever inspired me. I would just like to give you one thing elaborated out of all these, that you in 1991 I got married, and from our honeymoon we went to MP, and from there we straight away went to Wardha, where there was a second All India Amateur Astronomers Meet was going on. So it was more exciting for me to go to such a meet rather than to enjoy the honeymoon. So you can imagine my love for astronomy. In regard to other things, I have always given priority to astronomy. And if you wish to be part of astronomy, you have to understand that astronomy is so much. And I started spreading astronomy since 1986. I started my first club and go on. But then I thought that, am I the only one mad on this earth who loves the stars and like to spread the message of astronomy? Then I came across a person called Carl Sagan, who is one of the best person who outreached astronomy. So what I'm doing, I'm popularizing astronomy to a vast group of people. Where Carl Sagan also gave so many good series called Cosmos. This is a person, Sir Arthur C. Clarke, who has written so much about astronomy philosophically. So he wrote so many books and he also spreaded so much of astronomy. He is Sir Patrick Moore, who also wrote so many books on astronomy for the general public, not for professional astronomers, but for amateur astronomers like us. And he's Brian Greene, who is also having so many good series about astronomical things on YouTube and net. Everything is available. He is also, yes, he is also Michio Kaku, who is again a astronomy outreach personality who gives so many lectures, and these are all inspirational figures for me in my life. Where Neil deGrasse Tyson, he is also one of the person who from the beginning gave so much astronomy to so many people. His channel is also very nicely running, where astronomy is something which flows every time one sentence comes out. And this is not all, trust me. Astronomy outreach, this is called astronomy. Whatever popular lecture that I am right now delivering is called astronomy outreach. Why outreach? Because I can I tell you, so many times with my telescope I go outside, I stand on the road and show it to people, say this is moon, this is Venus, or this is Saturn. This is also been recognized by large observatories as well as ESA, that is European Space Agency, or NASA. They all are working towards astronomy outreach because it is the next level science, combination of all sciences. Just showing you a small film, which is just a minute or so, where they have given all these telescopes for everyone.
Sir, you are muted.
I have multiple small movies, but I don't routinely show movies during my such talk because that is a passive way of doing. So let me, be more interactive. What is covered in astronomy or astronomy outreach? Let me just, elaborate a little. Acha, okay, planets and equipment and galaxy and Big Bang and a moon or a sun and a Milky Way and comet and a space and black hole and galaxy. So okay. These are the things. No. Something more. Okay. The gravity and element and measurement and dark matter and constellation and black hole and speed of light and all the physics and okay. Fine. Is it? Oh no. Something more. Oh, okay. So these are the things that covers the parallax and spectra and everything. CMB, that is a coronal mass ejection, and all these things. Oh my God. Oh. So many things. Now you see one thing. Astronomy cannot be studied without certain understanding. I don't wish that you make up your mind right now that okay, if I'll study physics, then I'll become an astronomer. I'll show you some small different spectrum of astronomy where what covers what. Let us see one by one. Okay, so astronomy is physics. Why physics? Because laws that govern the universe is part of physics. You can find physics everywhere in the universe. Everything has the law of motion or the orbital things or the physical characteristic of it. All these things are covered in physics, so we can say that physics can be part of astronomy. What other thing? Okay, chemistry. Why chemistry? Because chemical composition of stars and a celestial body along with all the empty space and everything is there, and so we have to understand chemistry very well, because in the beginning of the universe, with the hydrogen as a the major element, and the helium and the carbon and then nitrogen and oxygen, and every compound molecule, every star, every physical thing that is made up of chemical, either the element or a molecule or the compound, organic or inorganic structure, everything, something blasts, the chemical elements are released, someone captures that, and then it is being used either to form living or non-living thing in the universe. So you have to understand chemistry very well. So okay, physics and chemistry, okay. Oh wow, mathematics. Why mathematics? Because any type of calculation, be it mass or a trajectory or distance or anything. Another level of mathematics in astronomy is called astrometrica, where certain things are in measurement, are being covered through this, and the Hubble Space Telescope measures the minute variation in the star's motion due to gravitational pull from one component. Now you see this. Without mathematics, it would be too difficult to calculate anything in the physics or a chemistry. You can see that astrometry started from Hipparchus way back in before Christ, and right now Gaia, the spacecraft, is doing so much in mathematics out there for us. So mathematics is also something. Oh wow, the geology. Fine, geology is needed because planetary surface, its evolution, its science, its interior of the planet, or the surface features that are there, how it is made, what phenomenon that gave the birth of the highest of the mountain on the Mars, which is just a half size that of the Earth. Mons Olympus is 3 times taller than Everest. Now you see, a body which is half size that of a Earth has a mountain which is taller than Everest, definitely questions us, or there is a crack which is called Valles Marineris, which is even larger than our own country, India. Or there is, this one is on the moon, where there is, Atikan basing at the South Pole, where, multiple rings are there. So if you can understand all these things, then it is ease of us to go and on any of the other celestial body. So all these things are, medicine. What medicine has to do in astronomy? Without medicine, it would be too difficult. Suppose if you go and say that, oh sir, we have a viral flu on Mars. Oh God, then what will you do? So space medicine is upcoming thing, where everyone is fascinated through multitude of things. You all must be knowing, or those who are into the field of it know that we go taller when we remain longer in a space. So that also is a different type of physiology or anatomy which we have to study before going and staying on Mars, because Mars has 0.38 that of a gravity that of Earth. So we would be having a different physiology when we go and stay there, and on moon it is just 1/6. So if you're gonna stay there long, you have to have astronomical medical facility. Oh, astronomy is computer? How can that be? Without computer, can you understand anything? No. Look at this. This is International Space Station, where it is filled with computer everywhere, any side, and it is computer. Anywhere you see, it's computer, nothing more than that. So you need to understand the software and the hardware of computer so much that you can communicate, or you can establish certain things in a complex manner. Oh, life science. Astronomy is also life science. So life science can also be part of it, because while life is what we see, needs to understand how from the dense cloud, the planetary formation, how the asteroid or a comet that brought either the water or oxygen or CHO and all the 4 elements that gave the birth of life that we see as a life can be, so you need to understand, aeronautics. Why aeronautics? Without this, human can't go to space, right? You all have seen certain establishment of such thing which has given a development like this space shuttle. Then the new thing that this Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson has started a space travel and another level where people would be just going and saying, Mama, just I'm coming back in, half an hour. Where are you going? I'm going to space to have a coffee. So this is a new thing that human in space can be understood if you know aeronautics. Oh my God, communication. Why communication is needed? Because suppose if by chance if you go to moon and there is no communication, hello, we are having a problem. We are seeing alien in front of us. Can you help us? But if there is no communication, then it would be too difficult for any of the scientists on Earth to guide you or give you assistance in protecting you. So this is also one of the beautiful branch of astronomy where you can save so many people. Oh wow, rocketry. Why rocketry? Because without this, you can't go to space. And from so many years, the new type of more efficient, more range, without much of a problem, these rocket can give you a beautiful space where we can travel even to the nearest star, Proxima Centauri, in the smallest of the time period. Fine, okay. Solar energy. Now, what solar energy has to? It is there on my rooftop. Is that something? No, there is no other source of energy out there in the space. So we need to understand this very well. We all know that on every mission that is sent to space needs power, though there is a nuclear power out there. But a new concept like this picture is showing you something like there is a project, probable project, that on the moon the whole of the equator of the moon would be filled with solar panels, and that can be harnessed. The solar energy can be harnessed and can be sent back to Earth. So solar energy is something without which we cannot go beyond. Robotics, now what it has to do, without which we can't go to any space. You know that on Mars right now there are certain robots which are working for us, so that we know that should we go there or not. The upcoming thing, and now a new era of a helicopter like thing that is also there on the Mars, and these are all different types of robots other than a kind of a robots that you saw during Star Wars movie series, right? So these are a kind of soldiers who have worked for us. Then they ask us to take over, right? So they go, they check, they allow us to go and stay. So they are very important in astronomy. What else? Engineerings. Oh yes, without engineers you can't think of anything, be it a spaceship like this one where everything is engineered properly. Every type of bombardment by anything or any movie you see, all these things, be it the platform of Jeff Bezos' flight or NASA's any flight or anything, without engineering, be it any engineering branch, it is required, whether to build a planetarium, whether to build an observatory or a telescope, anything. Without engineering, astronomy is nothing. Okay, philosophy, OMG. So this is something that gives us futuristic vision. Philosophers say that I think that there was no Big Bang. Acha, so how could this universe have come in existence? It is there since long. Acha, then the scientists start, checking that. Okay, his philosophy is that it is since ages, and his philosophy is it began. Acha, suppose Big Bang started, so where it happened? So then again the philosophical aspect, then the observation, then the analysis, and the new philosophy. I believe that there has to be a big crunch after this big expansion. So there is a philosophy. So every science growth is always needed, because if there is no philosophy, there is no probability of any hypothesis or any observation, any analysis that can give a birth to another level of astronomy. This is also philosophy where we know now that the universe has expanded to a level of 93 billion light years, sir. But I believe that the Big Bang took place 13.7 billion years ago. How can there be expansion of this so-called observable universe, 93 billion light years. You will understand all this if you study astronomy. So that means astronomy is everything? Yes, everything. According to me, astronomy is everything. You choose any course, you study anything, your love for astronomy will give you a specific small tunnel through which you can reach to astronomy. So, can you elaborate how to develop or pursue astronomy? So again, I'll just give you some small journey of mine where you can see that how astronomy can establish in everyone's life, whether it is a theoretical astronomy, whether it is a practical astronomy, whether there is a allied science that leads you to astronomy, or there can be myths and misconceptions that can be giving you another level of astronomy. And last but not the least, the astrology. Let us understand this also. Okay, so the theoretical astronomy is something where so many maths and physics and chemistry and all the things that I asked you to go through just gives us a probable understanding of that is happening out there in the so-called observable universe. Whether it is observable or not observable, I hope that once we thought that we have understood everything, and suddenly the dark matter and dark energy said, "Hello, we are here." Don't consider that you have understood it. You have just understood 5% of the universe, yet we have to explore 95%. So there is a vast scope of all of you to study astronomy and find what is out there, right? So let us take it one by one. Those who are in school, those who are in college, those who are studying, or those who are teachers or professors, they can push someone to do some practicals like experiments, models, and observations. Again, these experiments can be in the school fair or a college science fair. They can make some models and try to show it either in a static manner or in a working model, where even a small thing like how the moon changes phases, or what is the probable angle of the star that is up there and how we can see that, or a small working model of a solar system, or with a push only you can send the rocket in the space, or you can have the working model of a sundial, or you can have the eclipse in the classroom, or a horn antenna you can build, or something where two different bodies can ripple apart through what. So these are the kind of a base onto which you can enter into astronomy through different types of experiment. Observations has three different types: the naked eye observation, the telescopic observation, and the photographic observation. In naked eye, you can enjoy the constellation and a planet and the meteors and the comets and everything, which gives you pleasure. Suppose if there is no cloud out there, then if you just go with a cup of a tea or a coffee, and if you just see up there and suddenly there is a meteor and wow, what a beauty in the night sky, so that gives you pleasure, right? So it's always a pleasure that is needed to enjoy anything. So search for comet, asteroid, exoplanet, or something. All these things are telescopic, right? The study through ground-based or a space-based telescope, where such models can be created out of the observations that is made. So types of telescope, there are multitude types of telescope. Once we thought there is only this bungla into which we have to see through, and now there is a X-ray telescope, radio telescope, infrared telescope, microwave telescope, so many types of telescope. But other than our eyes, now there are CCD, like there is a photography that is very important to study something, because once you take the photograph, then you take after a few years, if you check it, oh, there is some movement, and then you can discover some meteors and asteroids and comets and everything, or even the 10th or 9th planet in our solar system. Allied sciences, these I just showed you that the physics or the geology or chemistry or biology, anything is possible in our type of astronomy that we would like to go through. Myths and misconceptions, this is very, very important, because suppose if I ask you right now that how the eclipse takes place, Sir, eclipse takes place when the sun and earth and the moon, they come aligned together in a straight line. The eclipse takes place. Acha. So when does this eclipse take place? Acha, sir, it happens on a full moon day and a new moon day. Acha, the full moon and new moon happens every month. So why there are no eclipse every month? Oh, acha, my dadi was telling that there is a Rahu and Ketu who eats up the sun and all these things. So these are the myths and a misconception. What type of misconception? Like misconception of Uttarayan, suppose. Let us understand the Uttarayan. So many people, they fly the kites on a Uttarayan day. So when is the Uttarayan? Uttarayan is on 14th of January. Really? So till that time, the sun starts rising from the south and south and south. On 14th January, does it go to the north? No, this is a misconception. So what is the reality that we need to check? And we have to understand that what are the prevailing and what are the ancient myths and misconceptions. And the last thing is the astrology. What is astrology to do with astronomy? Let me tell you that whatever horoscope or a kundli that you are showing to any astrologer is nothing else but astronomy. How? That, let me tell you, we collect the data, then we analyze the data, and then the third aspect is that of only the astrologer, the prediction. But what is the data and analysis? So you all must have seen, those who are adult enough, that what is a horoscope, they have seen this type of chart where there are some 12 houses where the fourth house and the 10th house is nothing else, or the whole horoscope is nothing else but the position of the planet and the sun and the moon in the sky from the earth. So this is called a geocentric model of astronomy, where the vertical line can be considered as the horizon. If this is the horizon, then the first house is the east, the seventh house is the west. What is the 10th house? That is 90 degrees. So suppose if I do it like this, then this becomes the zenith, and what is below, that is a nadir. These are two more directions which are there in astronomy. This simply shows, suppose if right now, if you open up the Google uncle and ask, can you show me the horoscope of today? Then it would give you the horoscope for right now. Okay, suppose if I show you the horoscope for the right now, let me show you the horoscope for the present moment, and you will understand my talk ekdam perfectly. Suppose I have this only for the present time, present period. That means what is it showing? The Surya is written here on the 10th house. That means the Surya is up there. And Shani, you can see the Shani, that means the Saturn is at the Nadir, that means Saturn cannot be seen. But after nearly 12 hours, the sun would be on the other side, Saturn would be out there. So suppose if I want to see ki aaj raat ko how many planets can I see? So suppose if I put say 9 p.m. Okay, let me set the 9 p.m. time. Yes, and this is astronomy, right? So at 9 p.m. you can see that the second house shows Guru, that means the Jupiter. So that means at 9 o'clock, Jupiter must be somewhere in the vicinity of nearly 30 degree up there in the sky. And you can also see the Shani in the third house. That means from 30 to 60 degree, Saturn must be visible. So astrological aspect can be given by the astronomers to astrologers, then let them predict कि आपका शनि भारी है, आपको इसके पाठ जप करने पड़ेंगे, तो ब्राह्मण को पैसा चाहिए. Fine, you give, that's faith. That has got nothing to do with astronomy, but they do it according to their own way. And I don't want to get into astrology right now. I'm just giving you that the horoscope, if you see that of any person, even on your birth, what exactly the planetary position was, you can now predict very well. Right? Fine. I hope we are going fine. Can you, if you have any question, I would like to just pause for a minute.
Yes, sir. I have opened the chat section. If anyone is having doubt, so he or she.
Oh, it is only doubt on doubt, doubt and doubt. So many things.
Uh, so, till then, I had a doubt. Like, you just mentioned the relation between astrology and astronomy, right? You mentioned about Kundali and all. So I wanted to ask that what is the original thing? Like, we know that there are infinite terminologies or infinite planets or like celestial bodies in this universe. So, like, could each and everybody be influencing the human life existing here, like,
Oh.
or something like that? And like,
Even right
uh,
now, my talk has a gravity that has started rippling in so many minds. So I am also a part of astrology in everyone's life right now. I'm making a difference in thought patterns of people. Anyway, let me
yes, sir.
let
But
me
okay, and
let
in
me tell
Kundali
you
and all, we also study out. We got to know. We get to know about the future things. So, like, is it
about
something
what last word.
pseudoscience? And yes, sir.
Okay. Let me tell you something. Let us consider that astrology is humbug. Let us
So,
assume.
is this astrology pseudoscience? Or, yeah.
Yeah. Let me tell you. Suppose let us consider that astrology is a pseudoscience. It is absolutely rubbish. That because your Surya is in the 10th house, you are going to do this, or because this is there and this is that. This is the combination. This is Kalsa Yog, so you can't do this. Now, let me compare this astrology with medical line. Okay. Suppose if tomorrow morning I wish no one sneezes, but suppose tomorrow morning you start sneezing and you feel tired, then you check, there is a thermometer, you check and you see that, oh, you have 100-degree Fahrenheit temperature, so you will go to a doctor, right? So this is a routine thing that every house observes. Suppose if you are tired and you decided to check how the medical field is correlating with astrology. Now you see this another part. I go to one doctor and say, sir, I am sneezing and there is a small headache and there is a small fever. He would give me some medicine. What I'll do, I'll keep that medicine in my pocket and I'll go to another doctor. Sir, there is this thing, this thing, this thing. Acha, he will also check me, then he will also give me some another medicine. Would these two medicine be the same? No. Let me go to the third doctor. Let me go to the, instead of MBBS, if I go to AMD, what AMD will do? Seems like it is very serious thing. Let me go through the MRI. Let me go through the chest X-ray. Let me go through the. So suppose if I meet 10 doctors, understand this. Suppose if I meet 10 doctors, would all 10 doctors give me the same medicine? Yeah, you just take the decode. Yeah, you just take the crocin and you will be fine. Would they say this? No, they would tell you something different according to their own information and knowledge and experience. Understand? According to their own information about that particular disease, their past knowledge and experience about healing that disease. But you might be having some underlying disease that he or she is not aware about, then the whole thing will go out track. And the same thing is happening in astrology. Suppose if you are an astrologer and if I come with my kundli, you will see that okay, this, so this, because you read 6 books or you are say Jyotish Acharya and you studied this much from one university where certain course is taken up. Does that mean that there are no other probable aspect of it? No, it is never so. Like knowledge is infinite, right? And the combination, the degree, the kala, the vikala, the house, the gravity, all the things vary from one astrologer to other astrologer according to their information, their knowledge, and their subject expertise, right? So I hope you understand that. Never ever try to judge anything from the face value, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand. Mr. Tushar, if you are having some doubt, you have raised your hand.
Can I ask in Hindi in voice if I audible?
any language is fine so far as I understand that language.
हाँ सर जी मेरे कुछ सवाल थे अगर इजाज़त हो तो मैं कर सकता हूँ आपकी इजाज़त हो तो
Go ahead.
मेरा सवाल ये था कि ड्रॉप आउट स्कूल स्टूडेंट भी क्या ये एस्ट्रोनॉमी के अंदर फील्ड के अंदर आगे बढ़ सकते हैं? कुछ रिसर्च वगैरह करना होगा तो वो आगे कर सकते हैं, और बड़े एस्ट्रोनॉमर हो गए, एस्ट्रोनॉमी के अंदर जो बड़े बड़े साइंटिस्ट हो गए, उस तरह से वो कर सकते हैं। और दूसरा मुझे ज्यादा बातचीत करनी है। ये वेबिनार खत्म होने के बाद आपसे मैं पर्सनली में बातचीत कर सकता हूँ, अगर आपकी परमिशन हो तो?
ओके, फाइन। पहली बात यह है कि मैं हिंदी में आंसर दूंगा क्योंकि आपका क्वेश्चन हिंदी में था। तो मैं आपको ये समझाऊंगा कि एस्ट्रोनॉमी कोई स्कूल में या कॉलेज में पढ़ाने वाली चीज नहीं है। ये अब तक आपको समझ आ गया होगा कि इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी कि आपको यही सब्जेक्ट लेना है, ये अगर आप पढ़ेंगे तो आप एस्ट्रोनॉमर बन जाएगा। आपका ये सब्जेक्ट के प्रति कितना लगाव है, आप इसमें कितना टाइम दे पाते हो, ये समझना बहुत जरूरी होता है। मेरे साथ कई बच्चे ऐसे हैं जिन्होंने पढ़ाई कुछ तक करने के बाद शायद छोड़ भी दी है, पर उन लोगों को अगर हम गाइड करते हैं सही तरीके से, अगर आपको पढ़ना लिखना अगर अदरवाइज आता है तो आप इसमें डेफिनेटली कुछ कर सकते हैं। नंबर 1। नंबर 2, regarding the contact that you can establish with me, I am open in every way. ओनली थिंग इज के बिकॉज हमारा काफ़ी कुछ प्रोग्राम्स एस्ट्रोनॉमी में चलते रहते हैं। आप शायद देख रहे होंगे मेरा एक एस्ट्रोनॉमी का यूट्यूब चैनल चलता है, तन्मय's अमेजिंग स्पेस करके, जिसकी लिंक में अगर हो पाएगा तो मेरा कोई एक स्टूडेंट होगा तो वो इसमें लिख देगा कि आप वो चैनल पे जाओगे तो आपको काफ़ी सारी चीज़ बहुत ही ल्यूसिड, मतलब बहुत ही नॉन साइंटिफिक टर्म्स में समझने का भी उसमें आपको चांस मिलेगा, क्योंकि हम इसको बहुत ही सरल तरीके से समझाने की कोशिश करते हैं। पहले मैंने ये चैनल चालू किया था सिर्फ गुजराती में, बट जनवरी महीने से ये हिंदी में भी चल रहा है, और काफ़ी सारा जो भी ट्रेंडिंग चीज़ होता है या जो भी कोई न्यूज़ होता है उसको हम गुजराती और हिंदी में देते हैं। हमारी क्लब भी चलती है जिसमें हम हर महीने सिर्फ एक दफ़ा मिलते हैं, जिसमें आपके कोई भी डाउट है, आपका कोई भी कुछ भी है तो वो आप उसमें शेयर करके अपने आप को सेटिस्फाई कर सकते हो। पर लेट मी टेल यू, ये चीज इतनी ही इम्पोर्टेंट है कि जितना आप स्टडी करते हो। अगर आप कोई एस्ट्रोनॉमी का कोई, अगर अभी हमारे साथ काफ़ी लोग ऐसे भी जुड़े होंगे कि जिन्होंने एमएससी फिजिक्स किया होगा या मास्टर इन इंजीनियरिंग या पीएचडी किया होगा, या काफ़ी कोई प्रोफेसर लोग भी हमारे साथ आज आगे जुड़े थे, ऐसा मेरे को बताया था। तो मैं आप सब लोगों को ये मतलब पूछूंगा कि क्या आप लोगों को लगता है कि जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि एस्ट्रोनॉमी हर एक चीज की स्टडी का कॉम्बिनेशन है। आप सब लोग इसमें शायद सहमत होंगे कि हर एक चीज का कॉम्बिनेशन करना पड़ेगा। कि अगर मुझे टेलीस्कोप बनाना है तो मुझे ये भी पता चलना चाहिए कि ये टेलीस्कोप में अगर डॉप्सोनियम माउंट है तो इसमें मुझे लकड़ी चलेगी कि इसमें मुझे मेटल चाहिए। अगर मेरा मेटल है तो ये कौन सी डिग्री पे ये झुक जाएगा या कौन सी डिग्री पे ये काम ठीक से नहीं करेगा। उसमें अगर मुझे कोई भी लेंस या कोई भी पीवीसी पाइप लूंगा तो वो ठीक चलेगा कि नहीं चलेगा। तो मुझे मेटलर्जी इंजीनियरिंग, मुझे मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग, मुझे फिजिक्स, क्योंकि उसमें ऑप्टिकल सब कुछ समझना पड़ेगा। मतलब देयर आर सो मेनी थिंग कि जिसको जानने के साथ साथ ही एस्ट्रोनॉमी आगे बढ़ सकती है। तो आई होप जिन लोगों को भी जुड़ना है वो लोग चैनल से भी जुड़ सकते हैं। जिन लोगों को आगे कुछ समझना है वो हमें या तो वो चैनल में जो भी कोई न्यूज़ है उसमें अगर कुछ नीचे लिख देंगे तो हम आपको उसके जरिए आगे बढ़ पाएंगे, या फिर आप हमारी क्लब में ज्वाइन हो सकते हैं जिसमें आपके सब डाउट क्लियर हो सकते हैं। राइट
सर, क्लब में कैसे ज्वाइन हो? और કેમ છો સરજી? મેં બી ગુજરાતી જ છું કઈ.
હું તમને ફક્ત એટલું કહીશ કે આપણે આ વેબિનારને લેટ અસ કમ્પ્લીટ ધીસ વેબિનાર. देयर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स दैट आई हैव टू स्टिल से। तो आप लोगों
Yes,
जो
sir.
जिनको भी कोई क्वेश्चन है वो जब साइकॉम का सॉरी कीर्ति का ये जब खुलेगा जो व्हाट्सएप का ग्रुप तो उसमें हम लिख देंगे। ठीक है, आप अभी हम इसके लिए टाइम बर्बाद नहीं करेंगे।
Yes, sir. And also, I would like to request to the participants that if you are having any doubt regarding which doesn't follow the flow of webinar, you can ask those for the later section. For
Thank
now,
you.
we would be continuing the flow of webinar. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So let me go ahead in this, that okay, so you have understood, but how do I pursue, you means how do I pursue astronomy? So in that regard, as I said, that I give so many popular lectures, so many places, I participate in so many fair where different types of poster model making, or even I go to so many municipal schools. Even trust me, not only the private schools. I go to municipal school. I try to spread the message that astronomy is for everyone. And recently, I have also started even to disable people where they can also enjoy. You can see through certain games and certain puzzles, and this is the observatory that I started, where in the middle you can see the minister for education in the middle who is sitting, and all these things are possible once you love this subject. So I'll just show you a journey after certain years how I pursued all these things. I am not interested much in promoting things that is not astronomy. But if you really love astronomy, if you really like to pursue something in this, then there are these things which can give you boosting, that even if with a small telescope of 5 inch I have shown it to more than 1 lakh people across the state, and there are so many lectures and so many TV and radio talks. So if you love astronomy, if you want to get into this, start with any subject, start with any topic, and you can definitely reach to a level where something like this channel of YouTube that I have made, that now it is also in Hindi, as I said, that there is a show Vaat Karo show, really Sachi, all these things, and then there is a small understanding of any definition. There is a club and everything. So fine, we are convinced. How should we do it, right? Any example? Suppose if I'll give you a small example, that let us take up a spherical geometry. Suppose somebody is into astrophysics and he or she wishes ki, can you elaborate on one particular topic? So I'm just giving you this one example of, say, spherical geometry, where it is a spherical geometry in 2D surface of a sphere, position of the Earth's surface, spherical trigonometry is there, and there's a small triangle that makes out what is a solid angle. All these things, I'm just talking about one small topic, and this one topic can give you a reason to enter into astronomy for life, not for year, for life, because there are so many things that only this one spherical geometry can give you. Be it a satellite tracking, be it any phenomena that is taking place somewhere, what time, what space, what is the depth, and what is the dimension, and all these things. These are the things which is probably one chapter in one of your year of either MSc or BSc, but this one thing can take you to a different level, where we can find certain objects in the night sky, celestial objects, with only one understanding, right? So I'm just opening that this one lecture cannot open up the whole horizon of astronomy, but this one lecture can definitely take you to different walks of subjects that can in combination give you understanding of astronomy, right? All these, like why the circumpolar stars, or why the stars are rising and setting, how can we see the north pole star when we are at the equator, can there be a pole star at the south, and all these things can give you another understanding of the subject, or the celestial sphere, the coordinate system, the sidereal time, or the synodic time, or the equinox, or a solstice. All these things might be so easy to hear, but too difficult to digest at first. I still remember in my school, we were never told that sun never rises exactly from east every day. Why that is missing? Why that is missing in our curriculum? Why can't there be understanding that because of blah 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 blah, it is blah 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 blah? There are no answers even from the teachers, and so it is too difficult that by the time we come to college, then we are taught, oh, it is not only the sound that can bend, the waves can also be bent to that of a light. Now when we studied the light in school, It was never taught that the light also bend. Light bending phenomenon took place in 1929, when the solar eclipse occurred, and they thought that if the light is bending due to the gravity, then definitely a particular star would be visible during the solar eclipse, and it was there. So it was the establishment of the light bending happened in 1929. I studied in the 60s and 70s and 80s. So in that time, I never studied this thing. Now it is our concept or perception which should be changed, where the things are very much different. If you take only one, like this spherical trigonometry or the time or all these things, very very small one thing can be studied throughout the life and can be mastered, and then you can also have the Nobel Prize for something you discovered or you invent in astronomy. Like, suppose if I ask a 10 student right now that, okay, tell me how many meridians are there on the earth. Sir, 180. No, sir, 360. No, 180. Now, why can't he or she have a clarity of mind that where there is a circle, there has to be 360? Why 180? Because it is confusing with latitude. So latitude, longitude, why this is important? Because in astronomy, the whole latitude longitude system is imagined on the spherical globe, where it is called right ascension and declination, to pinpoint, to make a coordinate system in the night sky. Why can't this thing be taught properly when any particular topic is taught in the school or college? What is the end use of this? Why can't that be added? But these are the flaws of the study system that we have. But all these things are very important to understand when we take up any one particular topic. Just let me tell you one thing. This is a photograph which has got no value in science, but this is a photograph that can give you a different understanding of science. What is this? This is just a tree with some colors and something. No, it is. These are 4 seasons, and these seasons, I don't know how many of you are aware about it, but fastest finger first. चलो कंप्यूटर जी हम खेलते हैं, फास्टेस्ट फिंगर फर्स्ट. तो जिसको आता है वो आंसर लिखे फटाफट से, जो पहले लिखेगा उसको हम कोई प्राइज नहीं देंगे. तो द क्वेश्चन इज, व्हाट इज one word reason? Okay, answer should be in the chat box. What is the one word reason for change of season on earth? Fast, you write. I can't read. We will just put it to the chat box only. But this one word is very important. Only one word answer, and that is science, right? No need to unmute, no need to say, just write down. Let us go ahead. Now, these are the daily questions that are asked by either our students or our children or someone who loves astronomy. Okay, a quick glance to a few questions of astronomy in general, which is misunderstood or misconceptualized while it has been taught. Okay, so let us go through this fast, and because we have already 12 o'clock. Is position of the rising sun every day the same? Why? Why there is a moon's rising time different every day? Phase of the moon is due to what reason? Why there are no eclipses every month? Which part of the star is broken when it is said that I saw a shooting star? तो तारे का कौन सा भाग टूटा? ऊपर का, नीचे का, बीच का, लेफ्ट का, राइट का, कौन सा टूटा? What has had to do with the star? On which day the sun is nearest or farthest to the earth? Will we have summer when it is nearest? Good question. Can moon be visible in a blue color on a blue moon day? Wow. And why? So we really lose our eyesight if we glance at the sun? Why? Is change of season due to elliptical orbit of the earth around the sun? Why the sun look redder while it is rising or setting? Is it same on any other planet too? Why we can't see crescent moon in the east in the evening? Now, sir, we never noticed that on which direction the crescent moon is otherwise visible. Why you are asking for east? What is 23 hours 56 minutes 4.01 second to do with our everyday's clock of 24 hours time. If we know that the earth rotates on its axis in 23 hours 56 minutes 4 seconds, then why we are having 24 hour in our routine wristwatch? Where these 4 minutes go? Sir, it is a leap year. Acha, so where are you storing this time? Are you storing anywhere and after 4 years you give it to someone, to the government, to adjust your timing? Is the Dhruv star or the pole star fixed since the birth of the earth? No idea, sir. Is noon always at 12? Why? Is earth really flat? Oh my god, I never knew that. Can there be less than 4 direction on earth? How? Can we see the far side of the moon, even the slightest? Why? Is it true that we see sun even after the sunset? Oh, why? Can we know time by seeing sun in the sky? Oh, अच्छा sun इधर है ना, इतने बजे होंगे. Oh wow. Can we find the direction by watching stars? How much does sun move in an hour? Is the sky color same over across all the planets in the solar system? Is there north-south direction even in space? Venus is also called morning evening star. Why? Are there really 12 zodiac signs or 13 zodiac signs? Oh, is there any relationship between tides and a lunatic person? Oh, lunatic means a mad person. Why? Is day and night length same on equinox over the whole earth or only at the equator? Oh wow, another question. Is comet a bad omen which once was thought? Is astronomy and astrology same? Difference of stars and a planet is only twinkling? Really? Oh my god. Is nakshatra and constellation same? How many of them are there? Moon is sometimes visible even during the day. Why so? Can we see all zodiac signs in one night? If yes, then why? If no, then why? Why all stars are in different colors? What changes the colors? Is that a chameleon? Why does my shadow length in summer longer than the winter? How does my clock know that it is a leap year? Oh my god, why is moon so large at the horizon and when it goes up it becomes a smaller one? Why can we not see all the stars in the city? When I jump, do I fall 30 kilometers away on the earth because the earth moves at 30 kilometers per second around the earth? Suppose if this is the earth rotating and revolving. So suppose if it rotates, then if I go up and come down, so would the earth be differently, or would I come back to the same position? Why so? What is the shape of the lunar orbit? Oh, sir, it is elliptical. Array, just think of it and tell me, okay, what are solstice and equinoxes? Does eclipse has to do anything with it? Which is the farthest naked eye object visible to us? Can we know the direction by simply looking at the moon? Oh, is it? What was before the Big Bang? हो गया कि और कुछ भी बाकी है? So many questions. Trust me. These are the daily questions that any mature human may ask you or may have. Astronomy, as I said, has a broad spectrum. It's not only Sunita Williams or Rakesh Sharma or Galileo Galilei or Newton or whoever. It could be us. Anyone can, right? A for astronomy stands for A to Z. It's not only A to Z, anything and everything is part of astronomy in my book. Okay. Where can we do all these things? These are, kind of universities in USA where people can go further, study, UK, Europe. What about India? I have already started a channel in YouTube channel. On every Thursday, there is a guidance. Okay, there is a career guidance in which you can understand from one state to another state, every university that is giving you an option of studying either BSc with elective astronomy or MSc with astronomy or astrophysics or somewhere. Once this would be, kind of going ahead, then there would be a probability of a career answer also. If you feel that this should be end of the session, then thank you. If you wish to see more, I can go ahead. It all depends upon you, Kirti. I hope I'm not talking alone here.
No, sir. Actually, there are 52 participants who are hearing, and we all are understanding. I think we could continue for more time.
Sure.
Uh,
I would like to
yes,
show
sir.
you some fascinating slides of our solar system and beyond.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity. Okay, so thank universe that you have given us opportunity to understand you. So can we see some popular slides? So I'll just scroll through some slides which can just amaze you. I don't want to speak much on every slide, but this is to enjoy. Okay, the sun with some black holes like thing, a sun size compared to that of the earth, the sneezing material that comes out from sun as a coronal mass ejection, which is in popular called CME, the size of this black hole, the sunspots compared to the earth, a beauty of a total solar eclipse where you can see corona. Those who have never seen corona, this is the corona. Oh, the corona is another word that of sun's atmosphere is called corona, not the corona that is a pandemic that is happening here. So this is another type of solar eclipse called annular solar eclipse. Mercury's picture, Mercury's surface, Mercury's transit in front of the sun. These are the Venusian things: Venus without clouds, Venus with phases, Earth's northern lights or aurora. Again, aurora is so beautiful. Everyone would love to see aurora or the northern light. Sometimes the moon is a supermoon, sometimes the micro moon. Features of the moon: Neil Armstrong, the first man on moon. And there is a question, sir, if there is no air, how can the flag flipper on the moon? So that is also, a question. There are three such rover which are there on the moon. Anytime you get the chance to go, the key is inside. Straight away you can write no petrol or diesel needed. The lunar eclipse, the mechanism and the beauty of the moon that is visible once the lunar eclipse occurs. Mars, which is most studied planet with the longest of the crack on it, and there are, as I showed, that there are a number of robotic things that are moving out there. And from there, the picture that is taken, that of our Earth, you are here, not even 1 pixel into which the whole Earth is, where 8 billion people, along with so many other creatures, are living, are there. Surface of the Mars that has a beautiful shapes, like you can see the human face on the surface of the Mars. Somebody must have made that. Okay, so these are the satellites of Mars and asteroid belt, where there are numerous asteroids. People are now discovering asteroids like ever before. The first dwarf planet compared to that with the moon, asteroids, largest planet Jupiter in our solar system. It also has rings around it. Jovian planet or a Galilean satellite, which Galileo saw for the first time. The largest of it is the Ganymede. Most beautiful Saturn with beautiful ring system. This picture is a combination of visible and ultraviolet camera. This is the first ever picture taken by Voyager, that of a Saturn's ring. Cassini at Saturn, largest of the Saturn satellite Titan, which is the only other place in our solar system where the sky is blue. Uranus, just rotating on its equator around the sun. The largest of it is a Titania. Neptune, its largest satellite Triton. And the Pluto, that is the second dwarf planet in our solar system. Then there is a Haumea, that is the third dwarf planet. Makemake, the fourth dwarf planet, and Eris, the fifth dwarf planet in our solar system. Then you know that there is a Oort's cloud from where the comets visit. Different types of comets, very beautiful to see. Naked eye, sometimes visible, sometimes through the telescope it is visible, and sometimes they can collide with any planet or a celestial body. This is the Shoemaker-Levy 9 comet that collided on Jupiter. When we leave the whole solar system, the inner, then the outer, then what we can see beyond solar system. Let us start with the distance. Like this is the Proxima Centauri, then this is the first ever discovered exoplanet. As I said, that there are approximately 50 billion planets in our own galaxy, only in one galaxy I'm talking. Okay. Slowly, these are the slides that would simply amaze you. I don't wish to give you names and everything. Just enjoy this small slide show where multitude of things, like there can be emission nebula, there can be absorption nebula, there can be reflecting nebula, there can be Harbinger Haro, that is a place where the stars are taking birth, or something where the supernova, this is a kind of a planetary nebula where there is a ejecta of the material while the star takes a different type of a shape. Then there are some material which is flowing, like just a wind blew, and you can enjoy that. Like this is a heart and a soul nebula, sorry, this is Orion nebula, and so many Horsehead nebula, so many beautiful structures that are there in astronomy. Horsehead, you can see the Horsehead, right? And amazing amount of material. And I tell you why I love astronomy, because it is ever changing. Today I understood something, tomorrow a new concept will come, it will break my myth, and I have to understand something new. So there is nothing where that is permanent, right? Today we know that the Big Bang is there. Today we know that there is the end of the universe would be just a kind of fizzle out with energy that is dissipated all over, and there would be nothingness. Probably there can be some another parallel universe going on. The beginning might have a different cause, where it all started and how it all grew. So much of a physics, so much of a quantum theory, so many theories with a relativity of space and a time, where if I'm traveling at the speed of light, the time is zero. If I go inside the black hole, then the time would be halted for whatever reason. If you remember the movie Interstellar, onto which it is said that the time on this particular planet is compared to Earth, 1 hour on this planet would be 7 years, not hours, 7 years on the Earth. So slowly and steadily we have understood the fathom of the universe through different concepts and theories and discoveries and inventions. You can see that the numbers are increasing, started from the nearest star, that is 4.26 light years away. We have reached to very farthest type of distances in our own Milky Way galaxy, where we have reached 9,000 light years away. You can see it's something like a rangoli in the sky. You can see that this is a supernova, Kepler's SNR, and beautiful objects. These are all, this is again the globular cluster that is there, which is kind of a small satellite galaxy. This is the sequence of a star explosion. You can see that this was taken in 2002, 2002, 2002, 2002, and now 2004. It expanded so beautifully. So you can see that we can understand the sky or space phenomenon, everything, by continuous observation and studying it. Now we have reached to 26,200 light years away. That means we are seeing the center of our own Milky Way galaxy, where there is a supermassive black hole, approximately 40 lakh solar masses. And this is the probable diagram of our galaxy, Milky Way galaxy, where the sun is in one of the arm called Orion arm, and these all dots are not star, but these all are different galaxy comprised of billions of stars. Every dot is more than 100 billion stars in it. And now you tell me, if we feel that we are the only one in the universe, how much ego we have, how much we feel that we are the only one. It's absolutely a baseless and rubbish thing. This was, something which I wanted to show you, that we are nothing in this universe. And I would like to, stop this here, and I can have now my face visible to me through Meet. Thank you very much for listening to me with such a patience. I know you must be having so many thoughts, but astronomy can be understood or can be, grown further to either discussions, questions, answers, further questions, further answer, and that creates further questions. So it should be interactive, but I know I have taken 15, 17 minutes more than the time that was given to me. Yeah, dark matter, dark energy. I tell you one thing, we have just started understanding science. Understand, we have just started understanding the science. It's kind of a baby stage into which we are in the understanding of the science for astronomy and space science. So you must be having multitude of questions, but I would like that you be in it, you study about it. I'll try to answer certain things. I'm not a great scientist. I'm just amateur astronomers trying to understand astronomy by simply studying and reading the way you are studying and reading. All right. Thank you. I have spoken enough. Now it's
Um,
your time, Anushka.
yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, if you should we be taking some questions, or we should be going towards the end
Let
of
me
this
try.
session?
Let me try. Yeah, let me try to answer. I don't know because their questions are very hard to answer.
Okay, sir. So, if anyone is having some doubts, so he or she can please ask. Sir, there
Somebody
is
is
some
writing
doubt
that
from.
how can I become an amateur astronomer? As I showed you, that amateur astronomer need not any quality other than the observation and their love for astronomy. So if you remain in astronomy, at least you read or follow something for 1 hour a day, and in a year you can become a good amateur astronomer, right? You can also scroll so many things, but you have to be part of that particular subject. Yes, yeah,
Uh,
doubts, please.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, somebody is asking that we can see the nebulas that are very farther away than some of the exoplanets clearly, but we can't see the exact images of the exoplanets. So, could you please throw some light on this fact?
See, basically, exoplanets are of two types. Number one, either they are gaseous, like the gaseous planet that we have around the sun, or they are terrestrial. That means it has a surface around it. Now, both of these, let us, start understanding that the first exoplanet was discovered in 1995. That is a 51 Pegasi b, and starting from then onwards till now, there are approximately 4,800 planets that are given names or numbers. Uh, but these planets are having two different positions. Number one, there is a kind of a habitable zone in which they can be, or they are either so near where there is no probability of life out there, or they are so far away. In all these senses, they are so far away and they are so small that our telescope with, at least 16 inch or 20 inch diameter, cannot straight away see these, because they require that there is indirect method in which you can find the exoplanet. Very few have straight been observed. Very few, I think two or three, but rest of them are just through some method. Suppose say magnitude deepening method. That means suppose if this is the star and if this is the planet. Now planet has no light of its own, and it cannot reflect so much of the light that of the parent star. So what it would do, suppose if it is going this way, then there is a probability of the light that is cutting through when the planet is going in front of that particular star. So there is a deep in their magnitude, and then once again it comes back. So there is a probability that there has to be something that is orbiting around that star. So the probability is very, very less for the equipment that we have right now.
Um, yes, sir. Sir, we are having one more doubt from Mr. Vishwa Rawal. So they are asking that being a robotic engineering student, how can they combine the field of astronomy with robotics?
See, basically nowadays astronomy is near zero if we want to go to any planet without the help of a robot. Suppose if I want to go to say go and stay on Mars. So do you think that without sending the satellite, without sending the robotic rovers out there, without sending any instrument, we can straight away go there? No, that is not possible. So robots are something. Robot doesn't mean that having a tray in a hand and saying or say hello, how are you, and bye bye, and all this. Robot means something which can be done automatically. That is your AI, right? Artificial intelligence. Now that can be in any form. Suppose if right now if I want to go and stay inside the tubules of the Mars where there are volcanic tubules, what I'll do, I'll send a robot which can go inside the tube, which would stay there for a little long and try to measure all the aspects that a human should otherwise stay without getting affected by the atmosphere or by the environment out there. So robots are now something like, without robots now astronomy's development is nearly zero. So if you are in robotic, then you can develop so many good things, like you can have a small satellite, a nano satellites or something like that, which can have a type of study material, like some payload on it, which can detect certain things which are not being yet detected. So robots are something which is very important. Without it, now the growth is near zero.
Um, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, if you don't mind, I had a personal doubt. Could I please ask it? Sir, like if we talk about the starting of universe, we get some theories with like Big Bang universe and Big Bang theory, and then we come forward towards the multi-universe theory, right? So I just wanted to know if we are having some mathematical proofs regarding this also, or we are just or like we are just giving these as a theory, like
No. There is no assumption, beta. See, previously there were different theories. Like there can be, the universe called a steady state theory of the universe, where the universe is not at all moving. It is just, moving like the sun, and the planets are moving like this. The Milky Way galaxy is otherwise steady. All other things which are there are just, the way they are for millions of years, according to steady state theory. But when Hubble found that the galaxies are receding away from each other at a very fast velocity, they came to know that the universe is expanding. So the steady state theory just came to halt. Now there is another probability that there is a oscillating universe. Okay, so what is oscillating universe? There is a time where the universe is right now expanding. A time will come when it will halt, and it would be a big crunch. The way there is a big bang, there would be a big crunch. But for that purpose, you need to slow down the universe at one point. Right now we are not having any sign of slowing down. Instead of that, as farther we are seeing that it is going away from each other at a faster speed. So let's go back in time. Let's go back 13.7 billion years, and if we say that the temperature, the density, the material, the dark matter, everything was in a 0 point, in a singularity, and now it has expanded. So suppose if 13.7 billion years ago, if something has happened, what should be the temperature out there now? If that time there was this X temperature, then what should be the temperature now, that of a space around us? So that temperature mathematically got calculated to minus 270 degrees, that is 3.72 Kelvin. Now observed this exact number out there by COBE, that is a cosmic background radiation observatory. So this COBE satellite just observed exactly that theoretical temperature out there, and that stamped that yes, if this is the temperature that is found in this space, then this has to be Big Bang. Other than that, there is a probability that there can be multiverse, there can be more universes than one universe that into which we are living, but yet we have not found Other than Big Bang, no other theory has any evidence that what can be the beginning of our universe, that is what we are observing.
Yes, sir. So it means we don't have the actual mathematical proofs yet in
We
rest.
have that of a Big Bang. We have. Other than Big Bang, we don't have.
Okay, sir. Mr. Sanjeev M,
Yes.
if you are willing to ask something, you have raised your hand.
Yes, sir. Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Sir, you are telling me about a lot of information about the astrology. I learned more and more new things, and I had a doubt in black hole. So, what happened inside the black hole? I read something as about the black hole that even though light also can be absorbed by the black hole. What the everything's absorbed by the black hole? Then what happening inside the black hole? So, there is any proof? There is any theories?
Okay, see, basically, a black hole is a black hole because the light is also not in a position to escape from the gravitational force or the pull by that particular dying star. Okay, when the star is not stable, it starts, vibrating, and it start reaching to a threshold limit called a limit where the ion, that is the kind of element that is created, that ion requires more energy, and that just collapses the stars in such a way that there is an implosion. This implosion makes the explosion, and that explosion creates so much of the energy that if the mass of the star is beyond one limit, it simply goes to a singularity. Now, what is a singularity? The whole mass, which is more than the mass of the sun, goes at the single point where the density of that particular space is near infinite. We have thought that the light, the photon that travels, has no mass. Now, even the no mass cannot escape from this. So it is said that this is a black hole. Now it has near infinite gravity inside. So around it, it is something like if somebody is, by with open arms, suppose somebody is, moving around like this, and if this is the a kind of a limit which is called the accretion disk limit. If this is the accretion disk where the black hole is orbiting, suppose if the star comes near it, but unless it touches this, nothing can be affected. But once it touches it, it would simply engulf it, and it would let everything go in. These phenomenon are now observed. Understand this, that the digestion, like the engulfing of the star is observed, is photographed, and out of all these, whatever probable radiation from the previously it was not observed, but now it has been observed that from the polar regions of the black hole, small radiation is escaping. Even Stephen Hawking said that there is a Hawking radiation that is probably cooling down the black hole in trillions of years, not in million billion, but in trillions of years. Even the black hole will get dissipated if there is no material that can fuel the black hole, increase the energy and radiation inside. It may also get dissipated. So this is, yet this much is the known thing. Rest, everything is more mathematical and more into the probability aspect, where no one has yet entered into black hole, so it is too difficult, right? I hope nothing more I can say about this. Mr. Tushar is since long raising the hand. Please, Mr. Tushar, can you ask him to unmute and ask? Yes, Mr. Tushar. Yes,
Yes, can I audible?
you are audible.
हाँ सर, मैंने बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन है, लेकिन अभी यहाँ पे पूछ नहीं सकता, आपका समय और बाकी सबका समय बर्बाद होगा। तो आपका क्लब या कोई ग्रुप या ऐसा कुछ लिंक या ऐसा कुछ जानकारी होगी तो शेयर कर सकते हैं, आपसे मैं सीधे कांटेक्ट कर सकूँ, ज्वाइन हो सकूँ। आप जैसे प्रोफेसर हो गए, साइंटिस्ट हो गए, उनसे जुड़ के।
It is already written once or twice in the chat box. एक बार फिर से जाने से पहले एक बार आप देख लेना, एक बार लिंक उसमें शेयर हो जाएगी। But
Also, sir,
Please, you can make chat available so that I can share.
yeah,
uh,
Vishwa can share.
yes. Actually, sir, all the information about your YouTube channel and your mail ID, we would be sharing that in the main group itself. So participants don't actually need to bother about the fact.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for pouring us the immense knowledge over us, and we are very delighted to learn so much and the unsolved mysteries about this universe. We hope we would learn further and further. And to the participants, I would like to tell that and as soon as this webinar would be over, you would be shared a link in your WhatsApp group. There you have to fill the feedback form that would be working as the attendance link as well. The participants who would be filling that form would be given the certificates for this event. And for more information and further upcoming webinars, you all can follow the Futuristic Photons page on Instagram. All the further information to contact to Sir and to us would be shared in the group soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving me a chance to speak to so many curious souls.
Thank you so much, sir. We are very fortunate to have you here with us. And we hope we would get a chance to be with you again in the future, as we are willing to do so.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you. So I'm disconnecting and thank you very much.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Once again, a happy Republic Day to everyone.
Happy Republic Day.
Jai Hind, sir. Hereby, I request all the participants can now leave the meeting. We would be sharing the link soon in the WhatsApp group, and you are supposed to fill that, and that will be working as your attendance link as well. Thank you. Hello.
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल रिकॉर्डिंग बंद कर दो.
रिकॉर्डिंग बंद कैसे होगी यार? I think ये yep, let me just do it. Wait.
एंड सेकंड थिंग, न्यू मीट स्टार्ट कर दो इसको.
Yep, sure. I'm just doing that. Stop recording.